I do want to talk about actually what's been going on for ADA today, what's been going on for the crypto market, and I can sum it up very easily. Nothing, not a whole lot has really changed since earlier this morning. We're actually at about the same price as we were earlier today. And what we've been doing here is just kind of, again, waiting for tomorrow. Tomorrow's the big day. Tomorrow's probably where we're going to see the most volatility. Even though today we had a little bit of a long squeeze, then a little bit of a short squeeze, we've kind of nestled in right at support in terms of ADA and many other assets in the space. But while this has happened, there's a couple good things that are taking place right now that I want to show you guys. And I do want to make everybody aware of what's actually happening behind the scenes, because I think this just kind of goes either over people's heads or in one ear and out the other. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So yes, 78 cents is our very strong support for ADA. We have wicked below this many times, but like I've said, we like to return back to this. We like to return right to the edge of this range. Now, what I will say is that we're still kind of floating all the way well extended above our moving averages of our 50-day, our 100-day, our 200-day. All those are more down around like 71, 72 cents. So I'm hoping that we don't get anything too negative tomorrow or too reactionary where the market drops there. If it does, I'm going to be buying like crazy and opening up some longs, but you never know, right? The market's, again, still dealing with a lot of open interest. There are a very heavy amount of short positions in the market, and there still is some long leverage kind of down in these ranges. So it's just something that we need to be aware of. But what I will say is that, again, ADA keeps returning to this range. We're still oversold in terms of the daily stochastic RSI. So all that stuff is kind of right in the spot where it needs to be. Now, I did notice some things that happened. One of this actually a couple days ago, something else today. And first of all, BTC dominance actually has re-entered the overbought range in terms of the daily stochastic RSI. This is a pretty big deal because when we get into these ranges, that tends to be where you see BTC dominance cool down just a little bit. And a lot of times you do, in fact, get corrections back to the downside. Now, just take a look back here, right? Ran all the way up to these levels. Correction, cool, run to the downside. A little bit of a bounce there, dead cat bounce, right? A little bit higher, but then a correction to the downside. That's actually what kind of forced BTC dominance's hand to drop all the way from 65% down to 60%, right? And you guys can track this back throughout history. We're still waiting for the bearish cross to take place. Might be a day or two before we actually start to see this really flip around and work its way down. In fact, what we're seeing right now is actually a little bit of a bear pennant building. So that's actually a very promising sign. Just want to point that out. And in terms of USDT dominance, we're actually at this point right now where it's been up in this overbought range for a little bit of time. Actually since, gosh, what was that? Thursday of last week. Yeah, 24th. Yeah, Thursday of last week. And so now it's kind of putzing around, getting rejected by this 20-day moving average time after time after time. Even today, rejected by its 20-day. And what it's looking like right now is it's looking a little toppy, like it's going to want to make one of these corrections. Again, same thing. We get one of these bearish crosses, you tend to see significant drops. This is my waterfall drawing from earlier for anybody that I think that was my XRP video. I can't quite remember. So basically everything in the market is still set up in a perfect way. We just need a little bit of a push, just a little bit of a push. And hopefully we can get that tomorrow. And while this is all going on, and while I'm seeing the comments of people being, fearful and negative and just pissed off, you guys need to remember something. All right. And I made a post about this earlier today. I said, watching the market squirm before tomorrow is weird. You know who's not squirming? Whales and institutional money. Dips are temporary at this point. And guys, people who have been in this market for a long time, who are well positioned, that don't get emotional, we all recognize this stuff. Maybe many of you do too. But again, the fact that people are getting so emotional in the comments leads me to believe that there are still so many people that don't understand crypto. Dan Gambardella said something similar here, right? Supply shock is not just coming to Bitcoin, it's coming to altcoins like Cardano too. Many will sell too early. I've seen comments of people saying they sold their ADA, they sold their SHIB, they sold these other assets, and they're expecting lower prices. Horrible time to be playing games. Horrible time to capitulate. Guys, almost every day we are seeing institutional money and whales accumulate. All right. I have an XRP video coming, I think later, that I want to talk a little bit more about that on, but we have seen ADA whales just grow and grow and grow over the course of 2025, even as prices dropped. And some will say, oh, that hasn't affected price. It hasn't done anything. Yeah, but you know what they're doing? They're gathering and hoarding supply. They're removing this supply from the market. All right. What happens when we actually get a big surge of buying? What happens when we get an ADA spot ETF? What happens when the masses start to hit the market? What happens when ADA gets some advanced utility, whether that's government integration or enterprise use, whatever it may be? There's less and less and less ADA to go around. And this can be said for most assets in the space right now. Have these times sucked? Yeah. Trust me, I'd love to be retired. I'd love to be on a beach somewhere right now or on a golf course, but it hasn't worked out quite that way in this market cycle. Guys, it doesn't always work out on our timelines, all right? But what I do know is that we are building for the future. We are building for generational wealth. I have something in my throat. I apologize. We're building towards generational wealth. And guys, that's not easy. You don't get it all in one day. This isn't a meme coin. And what we're seeing right now is good foundational strength from assets in the space. And guess what? We're, for the first time in our history, getting massive embrace. And guys, that is going to bring some pretty exciting things. So that's all I got for you guys. I appreciate you as always. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below. But have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.